Hey everyone, can everybody hear me okay? I don't have my mic. First off, hi. Secondly, I don't know if the stream is good, so I need people to tell me if the stream is okay. Welcome to my hotel room. This is a suite. The bedroom is over there. I'm at the Embassy Suites in Centennial. Hi to everybody who's here. Let's do a quick hello. Hi, Tina Perucci. Thanks for being the first. Hi to Deb N. Hello, hello. Hi, Terry Renner. Good to see you. Melinda Rombo. Good morning. Ruth Pearl. Very beautiful artist, Ruth. Thank you for coming. Hi, Joe Tilson. Good to see you. Greeter TK is in the house. Thanks for the help. Shane as well. Nice seeing you here. Myra Cohen. We'll keep saying hi to everybody as we go along. The stream is fine? Oh, good. How's the sound? I can speak up. I don't have my microphone. So I had a really nice, oh, hi, Denise. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Phyllis. It's National Ice Cream Day. Good to know. Very important for me personally. Next question is, what do you prefer? Do you prefer real ice cream? Well, it's all ice cream. Made from dairy, or do you prefer vegan ice cream? And if you prefer vegan ice cream, which one? Dairy-free or with dairy? Thank you very much for the compliment there, Douglas, on the hair. I love Atlanta. I love Georgia. I think Georgia is one of the most beautiful states I've been able to visit. This is my second time in Georgia. The first time I was in Georgia, I was in Savannah, which I was convinced is the greatest state in the great blue state of Georgia. It was interesting. You know, I went down to breakfast. Nobody was wearing masks, which was kind of horrifying for me. But they had MSNBC on. All the channels had MSNBC, and nobody was complaining, which was, so it's not the South. It's not the old South, that's for sure. But it's kind of interesting because Atlanta is where the Civil War, it was kind of like the last stand, Sherman. And now we have this amazing renaissance taking place in Georgia, where we have the birth of the new green economy, the birth of the arts. It's an incredible media center here in Atlanta, film, television. So the good news is coming out of Atlanta. So that's powerful. The good news, and I believe the new green economy is going to come out of the South. So it's in time, everything that goes around comes around, right? So that to me is like a good way of healing the past, is acknowledging reparation and then moving towards healing the earth. You know, all of that is part, I believe, of the new South. So yeah, it's good to be here. How's everybody enjoying their weekend? You been out having fun? It is the new Hollywood. And by the way, I did not find a boyfriend, but I have been looking. I have never seen, this is really the Paris of the South, hands down, is Atlanta. I mean, wow, the people know how to dress and they're beautiful. I just, a fan of the channel, Deborah, she was kind enough to take me out last night, and we went to dinner, and the people were just so beautiful and so well dressed. And it was really like Paris. It was like the fashion and the beauty, and it was nice. It was nice to see that Atlanta had its own fashion style, and just beautiful. People really make an effort when they go out. Not like me. I'll just throw on some jeans and maybe I'll do a tube of lipstick. Okay, let's go. That's not how, I mean, here everybody looked good. They smelled good. I would pass a table of a young couple on a date and I'd be like, wow, you both smell fantastic. Just really taking good care of themselves. You should check out Atlanta. It's a good place. Anybody peach pecan. So anybody here, Debbie was going to take me to the Civil Rights Museum. There was a couple places we were going to go. Everything was sold out. So today I think I'll go see Centennial Park, and I'm possibly going to be shooting a video with Michelle Knight. I'm still waiting to hear from her. Yes, Douglas, I love Savannah, Georgia. You know what they used to say when I did a tour of Savannah? They said, welcome to a patch of blue in the great red state of Georgia. Because it was like 80% Democrat in the heart of Savannah, but they felt like they were the only ones that were Democrats. And of course, that's not true because Atlanta is pretty progressive. Strawberry rhubarb apple pie. Okay, this is a question. The Feel Good Festival was canceled because the venue was literally underwater. They couldn't get the trucks in. These things happen. And so I couldn't get the money back. And so Michelle said, why not just come out and maybe enjoy Savannah or Atlanta, and maybe we'll shoot a video. And so that's what I did. It's like, why waste a free vacation? But yeah, it got rained out. She went out to the venue and she sunk into, she's like, we can't get the trucks out. So life happens, right? You kind of have to go with it. And, but that's okay. We got to meet, and I got to meet people here in Atlanta. So my next question is, does anybody have anything they think I should do in Atlanta? I just woke up, by the way. I don't know what's going on with me. I've been so tired. Two symptoms: exhausted since I got here and zero appetite. When I say zero appetite, I mean, I don't want that. I think I overate during COVID, and now my body's like going on a semi-fast. Oh, Debbie, I'm going back tomorrow. Debbie Loshbo, she was my new friend. Yes, very sweet woman. She treated me to dinner last night, and we sat and admired all the beautiful clothes and people, and had a really nice time. But I ordered a quinoa vegan bowl. Anybody love those? Quinoa, chickpeas, avocado, kale. I'm trying to eat clean. And I thought, okay, I have no appetite, but I'll order the quinoa. She took me to a very nice Sunshine vegan restaurant. I think we have one in Los Angeles also. But I couldn't even eat half the bowl. I just was like, I have no appetite. So yeah, this morning I got up again to go and have breakfast, and I was the only one wearing a mask in line, and everybody's like exchanging stuff. And I'm thinking, and they're all getting in line and taking stuff. And I'm thinking, with no mask. And I'm thinking, have you heard of the Delta variant? Talk about risk taking. So I was the only one with a mask. And there were a couple of things I didn't touch for health reasons. That I just thought, this is too much of a contamination risk. But the things that are sealed, like a yogurt, those kinds of things are safe. People that were in the know got boxed cereals, but everybody going around and touching the same, and then another person comes and touches it. That is very dangerous. even though I'm vaccinated, it would be a drag to test positive when I get to Reykjavik next week, to the spot, because you have to have 2 negative and a negative spot test. And it's like, oh, you're positive because of Atlanta. I'm going to be so annoyed. But all right, so that's the story about me in Atlanta. Yes, low rates in the South, and unfortunately, because they didn't vaccinate, we now have new strains that are more virulent. And unfortunately, the Delta strain is not only more virulent, but it seems to be attacking the young. So the average age of those people in hospital right now are, I think they said in the 30s and 40s here in the Atlanta area. The average age of the Delta variant patients, 30s and 40s. So what are people doing? Why would anybody why would you do that? To be popular? I mean, everyone was staring at me like, what's wrong with her? Why is she wearing a mask? There's a social pressure, take it off. What's wrong? Keep it on, they're idiots. Seriously, anybody who's pressuring you to take the mask, keep the mask on and just say, I've looked at the data. And you don't need to infect a vulnerable person, right? Who can't get vaccinated for whatever reason. So yeah, mask. I'm back into the mask. I took them off briefly in Portland, but with this Delta strain and everything, I'm worried that I could infect somebody. Oh, that's horrible, Barb. I'm so disheartened to hear that about Mississippi. All those children are now in ICU. Children that are possibly, they don't even have fully developed lungs. And so to put a child in this situation by not getting vaccinated is not a good thing. Yes, violence everywhere. And there was a shooting in downtown Portland. And it's just something that unfortunately is common in the United States because of a lack of we don't have any gun safety laws going on. All right. So I don't have a lot of remote views for you. I didn't really do any remote views. So I don't have any remotes, which is usually we open the show with the remotes, but instead we're Melinda Warren. There's testing positive, which is not the same as getting sick. Usually it means you tested positive because you have an exposure, but you won't actually. Most people are either asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic after vaccination because we already are producing antibodies that can handle the Delta virus. The question is whether or not, and that's a good thing to bring up, whether or not the Delta virus is going to be able to override the antibodies that are being produced by, say, by taking Pfizer. And the answer is so far, yes. Even though we have breakthrough positives, the antibody levels after vaccination seem to be sufficient to avoid serious illness. And nobody currently in hospital with serious illness is a person who has been vaccinated. So it's a testimony to how important vaccination is, I think. And vaccination, a lot of people don't know this, but the naturopathic doctors know this. Vaccination was one of the first things that homeopathic doctors learned about. And that's because in homeopathy, not that I'm a homeopath, but I am interested in medical history, like treats like. And so they were taking a cowpox, which is similar to smallpox, and they were exposing people to a little bit of the cowpox, and they found it helped reduce the symptoms if you were exposed to smallpox. So that was basically the impetus for what became homeopathy, that if you could stimulate the body with something similar to the thing that was aggravating you, you could develop a tolerance. This was basically all that Hahnemann was saying. And then it got turned into something else. But so Pfizer, the Pfizer vaccine is considered green in the sense that Hahnemann, who discovered or invented homeopathy, he was a German doctor who lived in the Victorian era. And so he was very, very excited to hear that, to learn about vaccination and support vaccination. So the idea that naturopathic doctors or homeopathic doctors wouldn't support vaccination is rather bizarre, since that was the premise, the whole premise of, but people just don't want gnarly things in the vaccine that are outdated. We don't make vaccines the way we did in the 1950s. Pfizer is very clean, for example. It's kind of interesting that the Pfizer vaccine was created in Germany and homeopathy comes from Germany, so the scientists have a knowledge of that idea of clean vaccination, which I think is really cool. Social distancing, washing hands, very important. I'm always touching my face, so. All right, would everybody like to have a reading? I think there's about 639 people here. Would everybody like to have a community reading today? Would you all enjoy that? Apple cider vinegar. Well, they think that it dissolves calcium. They think it has something to do with calcium deposits, which I think is kind of interesting. Also with gallstones, people would do vinegar daily, which I think is kind of an interesting idea. Vinegar in the morning, vinegar at night, vinegar with honey. Vinegar was kind of a cure. Apple cider vinegar was considered a cure for everything. If you read like Back to Eden, they, it's closed too tight. Yeah, they used vinegar for a lot of stuff. You can also do vinegar baths for all kinds of things. What I love about being a naturopathic doctor is that you can come up with great ways to treat people that's non-invasive. Sometimes people have to have surgeries and more aggressive medicine just because the disease is further progressed. But for minor things, I think it's fine to use, gentle means. The medical medium is not a doctor. And I don't take much seriously that the medical medium says, and I haven't seen any scientific evidence to support anything the medical medium says. I mean, anybody could declare themselves a medical medium and start saying all kinds of things, but I would take it with a grain of salt and I would listen to Fauci. All right, let's do the prayer. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. Every time I say people we have strife with, I think about the people here that have problems with conservatives. Help those you have strife with by educating them, deprogramming them. All right, where we are together as a group. Oh, interesting. Nice. Very nice. It's interesting. We're entering into a time of being peacemakers. We're entering into a time in our life where we are smoothing out and having closure about the past. This is a time when we are making peace with our past, and this is a time of true forgiveness. As I've said in previous readings, when I go into the energy of the earth and the natural order of the earth, and we look at the question of forgiveness, one of the things that always comes up from the earth's perspective, Gaia, or the planet's perspective, is this idea that in order for the earth to maintain itself, we have to have justice absolute. We have to have rules in place, and we have to adhere to those rules. Otherwise, the world becomes imbalanced. In olden times, when you lived in the middle of nowhere, like, say, sub-Saharan Africa, and everybody had a job to do so that we didn't starve to death, and everybody was cooperating, and everybody was on the same page, and maybe there were only a couple hundred humans left on Earth at that time, we knew that if we didn't cooperate and take care of each other and put our best foot forward, we weren't going to make it. We all understood the direct imperative, which is to do our business, be about our business, and do what we can to help the earth and help one another. And life was pretty simple. When somebody would show up at that time in history who had a personality disorder, psychopathy, sociopathy, and that individual thought that the world revolved around them and lies and cheats and does whatever they want, that person was often placed in exile. They were cast out of the oasis. We've talked about this because there were limited resources. There was only so much food. And who came first in the oasis? The mother. The mother came first. The mother came first because she was lactating. She was producing the next generation. And so men would forfeit their food. Everybody would, the mother, if she was lactating, she needs an extra 500 kcal. There was an understanding of the natural order, and that mother comes first, and to all things the mother, and this praise of the mother. So when we talk about forgiveness in terms of the natural order, it can't happen until balance has been restored. And that means that if somebody has done something wrong to you, you can't brush it off and let it go because the individual has learned nothing. And if the person has a personality disorder, they've been emboldened because there were no consequences. And then they will simply go out and do the same thing to somebody else, only it will be worse. And it will progress, and it will get worse and worse and worse because it wasn't nipped in the bud, and because the natural order wasn't honored. Instead, the person had a misunderstanding of spirituality and thought, oh, I'll just turn the other cheek and let this person go off and do whatever they want. But that's not real justice, and that's not the natural order, and it teaches you that your life isn't worth fighting for, which is an extremely sick thing to teach children. No, forgiveness is when you tell the other person, or the other person knows what they have done, and they make amends, however they need to make amends, some kind of resolution to the conflict, so that forgiveness and balance can return to the situation. It's not enough to just say, oh, well, do what you want, and then we kick the can down the road. The karma card for us is the King of Cups. The King of Cups is the great mediator. He is the bridge over troubled water. The waters are troubled, and he sits there stationary, and he's got those beautiful cup there, and he's offering the healing. And he sits stationary. So we're at a point in our lives, I think now, where we are willing to offer what we can to be peacemakers and resolution of old conflicts with people from the past. But it cannot happen if it's dishonest. It cannot happen if you're being pressured by your culture or your society to be nice to people who haven't been nice to you. It's not going to work. Six of Cups is the karma card, and that is returns to loves of the past. It also has an aspect to it of forgiveness, offering the flowers of love and uh, sympathy, etc. I like the Six of Cups for a number of reasons. It's often called the soulmates card because it's the old love returning, but it also has childlike aspects to it. He's dressed like a clown. He's trying to make her smile. He's giving her a flower. This is a card that for me denotes peace, healing, resolution, forgiveness from the past. This could be a time in your life where you're really able to speak your truth about how you felt disrespected or dishonored by people, understand that you have a right to certain level of respect, and you have a right to say something when you feel that your rights are not being respected, and communicate with people so that you can have a real resolution. It means also that people are doing away with shame that doesn't suit them, shame that doesn't belong to them, holding on to shame that somebody gave us that isn't ours to hold on to. Where we are at right now is a time of serious contemplation also about our financial future. A lot of people are concerned about their finances because we just don't know where the economy is going. Many businesses, if they are not compliant with the new green economy, might not make it as we move into the new 21st century. You can see the King of Pentacles coming in, which is the money man. It's stable, it's balanced, it's frugal. This is also a very grounded card. I think of it as like a Taurus or a Capricorn. It's, you can see the nice bull there, nice Taurus energy. But it's somebody who's very grounded, somebody who is frugal, somebody who can balance a budget, somebody who's not spending more money than they have, something I need to remind myself now that I'm on vacation. So it's a time to really just do an account and a reckoning, and also make sure that you are okay financially. There appears to be some kind of disruption that's about to take place in the financial market. You can see the tower coming up over the finances. Thank you, Deb, for that donation. That's extremely kind of you. I appreciate it. So we could be starting to see some fluctuation. I do know that the Feds are talking about raising interest rates, and so this may be why they are so top heavy right now, the stock market. And so if you add those interest rate, an increase in interest rates, we could see the bubble come down because it's inevitable. And they know that this is going to happen when they raise interest rates. But see that tower coming in over a financial card. Scholarship. This is a great time for knowledge, acquiring information in the community and what we sit in, family, our legacy. What are we going to leave behind? What will be the legacy of our life? We all have a kingdom and we have to rule it, right? Whether it's a studio apartment or a one bedroom or you name it, we all are royalty because we come from pretty amazing stuff. We're children of the Creator, right? But we also are at a time in our life where we have to ask, what is going to be my legacy? The legacy card, the Ten of Pentacles, sits in the third house, which is denotes the base or what we sit in, marinate in. The fruits of my labor, what I will leave behind, that what I will leave to the next generation. People don't think about this as often the way that we used to generations ago, which is how will my children continue my work? What will be my legacy after I'm gone? Who will continue my legacy? Also, we have the Hermit in the fourth house, which is entering into a time of scholarship and knowledge. So a lot of learning, mental activity for people. Coming out of a time where we felt jailed, definitely, I think that has to do with COVID and the former administration. We now enter into a time of victory over the next 6 months. I think many of us are rebuilding our finances and we're rebuilding our careers, and we're rebuilding relationships with people who we may have ended those relationships because of mutual disrespect. And it'll be interesting to see how self-respect and respecting others can repair those old relationships. It reminds me of something that I meditated on Oshun and Gaia, the feminine aspects of the world. And one of the things I felt was that respect of men and disrespect of women was really destroying the planet. And it's something that is very fundamental to creating a society that can survive. It can't just be all about me, 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 me. That's associated with extinction. It has to be us, us, us. And it has to start with self-respect, caring for yourself, being kind to yourself, being gentle, self-respect, but also being able to give respect to others. It's really the foundation of a functioning society. So we have Six of Wands moving in for success in our careers, success intellectually, success in our interpersonal relationships, and coming out of this crash. As I've also said in previous readings, because the only economy left when you go into this energy is the new green economy, any businesses that are not associated with that will probably go under. And so it's probably a really good idea if you have financial advisors to begin moving everything towards green mutual funds, green investing. Ooh, focusing on our health. Great health cards today for people. So if you are doing a detox, or if you're changing up your diet, or if you are just cleaning up your kitchen, getting rid of all the sugary snacks. But this is a nice energy we're coming into of health. Others in relationship to you. This has come up before. Sometimes people cannot go on our journey with us. You have the Knight of Pentacles, which is the gap stop for those we are in opposition with. You may be able to have peace with certain people, but that doesn't mean they need to be a part of your life. Some relationships will end. The hope and the fear. Love, healing, the false knight, romantic hopes. The final outcome, if you want it, you will be married. The happy home. For people who are seeking love and marriage, this is a romantic reading. You can see 10 of Cups is the final outcome. Also, there's a soulmate card here, and this is the husband's card. So if you are looking for love and romance, it's very possible that over the next 6 months, it would be a very good time to start dating, because the cards are very appropriate for that. Let me do a clarification. Oh, financially, look at this. Ace of Pentacles, strength. The green economy. The other in opposition to you. Some people just don't want to play by the rules. Ending relationships with people who, that is that's the grifter's card. Juggling money like a clown. So sometimes being at peace with people means accepting that, believing they're who they say they are. They will show you who they are. You can have peace with them. You can tell them where you're coming from. Tell them why you've terminated the relationship and be very clear about that. But that doesn't mean the other individual is going to rise to the occasion and change. The hope and the fear. Again, love, true love, and romantic love. Final outcome, travel, romance, and possibly marriage for some of you. Very nice. Those were really good cards. A little bit of a shakeup with the market, but we've been expecting that because the Feds are talking about interest rates. But if you plan for the new green economy, you should be fine in the long term. Superstition Mountains. Well, Joel Tilson, that is an interesting story about polio. Yeah, because parents saw their children become crippled and it was probably the most horrific thing you would ever want to go through, is to see your child have a disease like that. I actually went to school with kids that had polio, which is strange. So it still existed in my generation. People that just didn't get around to getting the polio vaccine soon enough. Yeah, the iron lung, breathing lessons. He was one of the last people on a breathing lung to die. I can't remember his name. He was a writer for the San Francisco Tribune. The sugar cube. Was it a sugar cube? I can't remember. Oh, thank you, Christopher. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I had a friend with polio. She used to limp. She used to drag one foot. We would walk. I was like, what happened to you? She's like, I got polio. I'm like, really? And her parents had just delayed the vaccine too long. Sugar cube. It was in the 60s. Oh, I'm 1963. I don't know. Couldn't walk straight. That's right. Forrest Gump. They had to have help walking. Put braces on them and all kinds of things. All right, let's do some blitzes. Blitz, blitz, blitz away. That's really smart, though, to put it in sugar, because a kid is not going to say no to candy. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Wow, that's awfully sweet of you. Debbie is Loshbo is the kind person who took me to the Sunshine Cafe yesterday. Okay, blitz, blitz, blitz away. So let's get started. So the first question that people are asking has to do with the floods. People are concerned about flooding that's taking place, and asked if I could check on Germany, the Netherlands, etc., because there's been a lot of flooding there. So absolutely, I know there are something like 250 people died in the floods in Europe, and unfortunately the concern now is that the Netherlands, south of Amsterdam, that the levees will not hold, and that more flooding is expected. So I think that's one of the first things we should take a look at. What do y'all think? Is flooding in Europe, and specifically Germany. Very scary, isn't it? Because you think about a country, think about the Netherlands and how proactive they have been about making sure that they were prepared for global warming. And yet here we're in a situation where the flooding is happening there too. So it's very, very terrifying what we're looking at, particularly this time of the year. I mean, it's this type of massive flooding in mid-July is just absolutely wild. Thank you, Redwoods. It's very kind. Appreciate the donation. All right, let's take a look at the flooding in Europe. We'll focus on Germany first. Thank you, Pat. Thank you for your dancing baby. Germany. What's going on with the flooding in Germany? Oh, oh, oh my God. Okay, thank you. The problem, okay, I'm seeing it. The problem is the mud. The mud is extremely heavy. The police are trying to evacuate. The authorities were trying to evacuate. I'm in the remote. What I see is that certain landslides were starting to happen, certain mountainous areas, and they were trying to get people out as fast as possible because it wasn't just the water, it was the weight of the mud that I feel on top of me. And it's this massive mud coming on top of me that is causing me to be in an emergency situation. You can see here the Knight of Swords, rapid, almost like a raid, rapid response from the military, from the people concerned to evacuate these areas. They're not holding. The concern that some of these levees are not going to hold, literally pulling people out of north area of Amsterdam. This is a very aggressive kind of energy, and then you can see here death. So it feels to me when I'm in this energy like it's the mud that's the biggest threat, not just the water and the cars getting taken up, but I feel like there's so much water that huge chunks of mud are just crashing down on top of people, and that because of these massive slides, people are being buried under the mud. That's what I see. So we have the healing. This is like the Red Cross or the healers coming in trying to help. And then Magician is a good sign. It means that they'll be able to come in and stabilize the area for now, which is good. But the reason why people are still missing has to do with this muddy, mucky, digging under. That is really what I'm feeling when I go into this. Let me do the clarification. There's an investigation into, now it's a game blame, right? They're going to come out of this, and then I feel like there's some kind of an investigation, possibly to determine how this happened. Like someone's going to get blamed, whether it's who was irresponsible or how did this happen? Why were we not prepared? You can see the King of Pentacles, which I look at it as an investigative individual, the hidden money, or if there was inappropriate management of money that was supposed to be put into strengthening certain areas, preventing against flooding. Lots of heartbreak over the death card. The main problem, again, people missing under the mud. Clear cutting. Thank you, Joel Tilson. Is that what it is? I didn't even think about that. Thank you for answering why I'm seeing all this mud. So what I think Joel is saying is that because there were no trees, there was no foliage, there was nothing to hold these massive chunks of dirt together. So when all this flooding happened, huge swaths of mud were carried off, and the people were carried underneath the mud, and that's what caused a lot of the deaths. In terms of where the healers are at, the sun is coming out, and they're going to start doing some retrieval of bodies, etc. And then the final outcome is Magician, and I see a man coming into power in Germany after Merkel, who's quite good, and he doesn't look like a conservative. A very good, very efficient, very balanced energy with a nice King of Wands coming in. I think that they're going to get control of this, and I think they're going to have to really reassess the ecosystem so that this doesn't happen again. The good news is that we're going into the sun over the healers. The sun is coming out. They'll be able to help. And then the fact that this King of Wands, which is the best leader of all, is coming in over the Magician card, leads me to be optimistic about Germany being able to find a solution so that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. Okay, so now I'd like to look at just Holland, the Netherlands, just because I'm concerned about the levees. People are really worried that the levees are not going to hold if this continues, if this kind of thing happens again. So let's take a look at the security of the levees in the Netherlands, and if they're going to hold with global warming. You would think if anybody's prepared, it's got to be the Netherlands, right? And yet here they've had evacuations. Same thing. Emergency evacuations, emergencies came in, emergency workers, people stressed out. The concern here is I don't feel safe in my home. This is a different feeling when I go into the feeling in the Netherlands. I feel this evacuation feels more like certain neighborhoods are uncertain. I don't like a card like the Nine of Swords. Don't buy a home in the flood zone. Ace of Wands. Ooh, looks like there's a crack or something going on in the levee, but it's getting taken care of. Ooh, I'm concerned about future problems in the Netherlands where they may have problems. Look at this. I don't like this for the levees. Walking away, there's the waters. It's not complete. Let me do a clarification. New contract coming in, new assessments. Oh, it's really dangerous in some areas. This is going to take a lot of money. They're beginning to wonder if they can save certain areas. That's unfortunately what this is starting to look like. Yeah, the water. You're watching the water. This is a wish card. Ooh, they've got a woman in power coming in. Here's the concern. Here's how I feel. I feel like the poorer areas, this is always the problem everywhere. The poorer areas, the areas that are most vulnerable, they may have to make a tough decision and walk away or allow to reduce pressure. They may flood certain areas. That's almost what it looks like. I don't know enough about the situation there, but to have an Eight of Cups come in or to allow to control a flood so that this area floods, but this one doesn't, and think about the financial sector. If this is happening south of Amsterdam and then they're opening up the water and allowing certain areas to flood so that residential areas and areas that have more financial investment are protected, then that becomes an ethical problem if you're a poor person living in an area that's vulnerable. So unfortunately, these cards, it would suggest that the Netherlands are going to continue to have challenges. But I imagine it's because they're below sea level. Unfortunately, they have to make a tough decision. Are they going to save all the areas they want to save, or are they going to have to let certain areas go? That's unfortunately what I see for the Netherlands right now. Wow. That's unfortunate. Jeez Louise. All right. Yeah, a lot of questions about the weather. The next question I had. Oh, you're doing prayers? Yeah, good, Terry. Thank you for doing prayers. Very scary. Oh, is that what's happening, Terry? So so the water is trying to go into its natural floodplain, and the levees, it goes back to the planet. She wants to do what she wants to do, and if we block the water, if we block things from moving, she's going to come in and do what she wants, and yeah. Not good. Okay, so the next question I had to do with the Delta strain, and people were concerned that with the new Delta strain, that because so few people are vaccinated, will it give birth to even more aggressive strains? And could we find ourselves back in the same situation we were in before? So the future of vaccination and the Delta strain is the next question. The future of the epidemic. Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's just look at the United States first. The Delta strain and the future of the epidemic. Oh, really? It is? Out of control, huh? You know, there are people in this world, they just want to create chaos for other people. Chaos is a type of warfare, and creating confusion and chaos is how you dismantle. This is what malignant narcissists do. This is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when a person abuses you so severely that you go insane, and then they point and say, see, you can't believe anything she says because she's insane. So, or he's insane. So that would be an example of a type of abuse due to creating chaos for somebody. Where we're at right now is the Three of Pentacles, which is a new contract or we're headed in a new phase, new contract with COVID. We have the Knight of Wands coming as well, which is, I feel like this is there's an aggressive pull to get the vaccine anywhere and everywhere we can. Ace of Pentacles is moving in, so financial support. Here's the problem, chaos, grifter, Two of Pentacles, which is the confusion, the misinformation, etc. Oh, they shut him down. Good. So the clarification, see, so we're continuing to have problems with people giving false information. I see individual lawsuits against Fox News. I see more individual lawsuits against Fox News, and I don't know why the conservatives took this stance. I don't know why they took this stance and held on to this stance. I mean, Trump almost died from COVID. You know, it's now coming out that he was almost intubated. He was really, really sick. So the fact that they would it just makes no sense to me. I mean, new rules in place could indicate, with the Three of Pentacles, it could indicate, and there's a pushback, Seven of Wands, people don't want to go back into strict isolation the way it was before. There's going to be a real pushback against that. I also think there's going to be a continual, despite the efforts to fund more vaccination, There's a lot of people's 10 of swords. They don't, and this is also to be betrayed. So it's as if the conservatives were betrayed by their own leadership, because their own leadership killed them, basically. The people that were conservative that died because they didn't take it seriously or refused to be vaccinated were basically killed by the people in the media, the conservatives that were saying it was no big deal. That's basically how it looks. The fact that there's a 5 of swords moving in over the 2 of pentacles leads me to think that who's ever responsible for this disinformation campaign will probably have to leave it. Yeah, Herman Cain died of COVID. So, and then they all wanted to pretend that he really didn't die of COVID. No, he went to a super spreader event and died of COVID. I'm still worried about testing positive before I just don't want to land in Reykjavik and they do a spot test and go, you're positive. I'm like, that would be so annoying. Okay, so are more Republicans dying than Democrats? It doesn't work like that. People who are exposed more to COVID are the ones that are dying. And there's other factors, but for example, healthcare providers were at high risk, but not anymore because they're fully vaccinated. So now we're looking at prison populations being at risk. Anybody who is in a crowded area where people are not vaccinated is at risk, including, Los Angeles County. Los Angeles is kind of like La La Land. They want to live in a pretty world, kind of, pretending that there's nothing horrible and everything's beautiful and everybody's young and everyone's pretty. So what they do is they grab all their homeless and people that are in pain and they send them down to 12 blocks in downtown Los Angeles, and they let them die there. They give them no medical aid, and it's just literally like Calcutta down there. If you've ever been down there, that is a medical cesspool. If you're not going to help these people, then you can't expect to get control over COVID in Los Angeles, because you've got poor public health, overcrowding, lack of medical care. And if we treat our fellow human beings like that, we're going to have a public health crisis. So it's not Democrat and Republican, as much as people would like us to fight Democrats and Republicans. That's not science. If you're not vaccinated and if you're exposed, if you have multiple exposures, then you're at risk for getting COVID. Barr is saying, thank you for that 100% of the patients that they're treating are not vaccinated. Troops, topical, aquatics. No, we can't make you get vaccinated. That's true. Survival of the fittest. Yeah, but that's not associated with human evolution. Survival was due to cooperation, not just being fit. Well, yeah, Seattle is also bad, so not good. All right, on a happy note, let's change the subject to happy stuff. Let's talk about vacations. Let's talk about vacations. Oh, Rachel Melendez. She wants to hear about the Mueller report on 45 or bar. Think that nothing's going on in that right now. I didn't know that anything had changed with the Mueller report. Mueller report was kind of, God, it's amazing the crap that they've done. Can we get rid of that person? How do we do that?
Housekeeping. Oh,
hi. Would you like to come say hi?
Yes.
Say hi. I'm fully vaccinated. You can come say hi. I'm live. I'm live. You want to come say hi? Say hi to the. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's your name? What's your name?
Julie.
You want to say hi? Julie's here.
Oh.
They want to see you. It's 767 people.
67? Oh my God.
See, no, Julie.
No.
You don't see? Does it look dirty? I didn't dirty it. No, not really. What am I going to do in here that's dirty?
Okay.
I'm too old for that.
Yes, no.
Yeah. Breakfast.
Okay.
Muchas gracias. Yes. That was Julie. She came and said hi to us. Julie did not want to come and be on camera. I don't know why. France. Well, like I said, if you're vaccinated and they're letting us in and you're taking all the precautions, then I'm sure it's going to be. Fauci says it's okay. I always look to Fauci because he's the genius in our little family. Keepers. I know. I will leave her a very nice tip. That's something I need to take care of today. Thank you. I need to get to an ATM so that I can give her a nice tip. Ooh, Salem on Halloween. That sounds lovely. Ooh. Oh, now that's a question I am very interested in. I'd like to look at DACA. Thank you for that question. Did I get it right? Did I pin the DACA one? Let's see. There we go. Okay, so Sadshakti wants to know about the future of DACA. As many of you know, there was a judge, I believe he was in Texas, is that right? He's claiming that DACA is not constitutional. God, what a weird country. You do know that you're living on their land, right, Texas? Did you know that? You know that, California? You're living in Mexico. We took it from, no, you don't know? Okay. Can you imagine, you take somebody's home, you kick everybody out, you call it the Alamo, we've got God on our side, you take all these people's land, and then you won't let them come in, and you say, oh, you're violating our Constitution if you come in. Don't you find that a little odd? Strange, right? Was that even you have to ask, was it even, did it violate, what laws did it violate when was it even legal? It's like, some scholars think the Alamo we weren't even allowed to do it. Like what we were doing, taking Texas, etc., violated our own laws. But hey, we got it now. People are making money, so. Yeah. All right, so DACA. Let's see about the future of DACA. Is that, yeah, Vixen? I remember I took history in college, and we got to the issue of the Alamo, and there was an actual debate about whether or not any of this land really is the United States. It's like, it's technically may not even be we may have been violating our own treaties and law. You can't just say, well, we want it because God told us to take it. You can't really just take people's countries. But we do. You can't come in. We don't want you foreigners coming. It's our family lived there for 10 generations. Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, it was a land grab. Exactly. That's right. We took Mexico. It was against international law. Thank you. I remember learning it because we had the debate in college where we looked at international law, all the violations, and yeah, you can't do that. It's just very strange. All right, DACA. It's so weird that DACA would be a problem. I'm so confused why any of this is an issue. For starters, the birth rate is dropping in the United States a lot. And immigration is down a lot. And we don't have enough workers. So I don't really understand why you would target DACA. People that have spent most of their lives in the U.S., speak English, are law-abiding. If you're going to go after anybody, that's not the people you would go after when you have a massive labor shortage. It just doesn't. This isn't even good for the economy. It's horrible for the economy. There does appear to be some assistance for DACA regarding school. Some of these DACA recipients, they're in medical school. They're living as American citizens. The Two of Cups comes in, which is a desire to help or assist or a union. And then you have the Seven of Wands, which is to take the higher ground and to fight. I feel like we have to be patient regarding this issue, but people have already been patient enough. But there's a Four of Swords here, and then the Fool card. So Four of Swords can be a stationary position. There could be an indication here that there are some kind of a delay, and also people trying to muck it up. It's almost like make liberals cry is more important than what's actually good for the country. You can see here also Two of Pentacles, the grifter card, and trying to pull people to smoother water. The main incentive for DACA, and this is something that Bush Jr. talked about, is the incentive because it's economically beneficial. DACA is economically beneficial for the country. So slow going because of this fear of foreigners, the fear of the others. But the truth is that if we don't start to have healthy immigration, it's going to have a really, really negative impact on the economy. You can see here, ultimately, the economy wins, but that's a slow going. It's an economic decision. So yes, DACA will be resolved, but it looks like it's mostly due to economic pressure. Economic pressure. Letitia James. What would you like to know about Letitia James? Letitia James is investigating 45, right, for rape allegations. I don't think for I don't know if there's a statute of limitations. Is that a civil? All right. So we're just going to look at Letitia James investigation into 45. Letitia James. Strong woman. Here's the problem. She's the justice, but she can't always control what the feds do in terms of sweetheart deals. And that's the problem with Letitia James. She presents as the justice card, the Queen of Swords, who seeks justice absolute, right? And then you have mercy, right? This can be offering a deal to an informant, for example, but it's also the balance of justice. Then you have the smooth water king, and then you have the grifter's card. So I feel like she wants justice absolute, but sometimes you have to make deals with people. Yeah, deals. I don't like that. Oof, there's a lot of evidence against them. It's like a these guys were all it was like a bunch of kids doing whatever they wanted to do because they were blackmailing people in power, like the former AG. Yeah. People are blackmailed, bribe schemes, corruption schemes. It's so horrible that it's almost like the more they investigate, the more they find compromised people. The outcome, however, is positive 10 of cups. But what's frustrating is that it always seems like the criminals are 2 steps ahead of the authorities. The fact that there's a 10 of cups as the outcome is a good sign, though. And the fact that the Empress is coming in would indicate that she has a lot of evidence against this individual. I would say that she will be successful, but that there may be some deals or some people that flip in order to move on the investigations. And it's out of her control to some extent. There's a point here where she doesn't have complete control over what the feds choose to do. That's basically the best way to describe it. So people will possibly flip, and 1% of money launderers are ever caught. Well, that's why they put billions of dollars into the IRS to try and catch them, because it's a big problem. Because, yeah, there's so many people that have been, we've lost a lot of money. It was always about the money. All right, I think this is a good question. This one comes from Linda Kingsley. Hi, Linda. The question is about Jennifer Weisselberg. As people know, she is the former daughter-in-law of Weisselberg, the accountant for the Trump organization, who has been accused of not paying his taxes. Jennifer Weisselberg, is she okay? She was thrown out of her apartment. I know, I saw that. We did cards on her I think it was a month or 2 ago, and it showed that, yeah, she was going to have to leave her apartment. What is Jennifer Weisselberg up to? The main drag for her has to do with family pressure. That's the main drag. It's the conversations that she's having with family members that are saying, why did you do this to us? Why did you put us in this position? Three of Swords, heartbreak, people are, she's become the bad person. She's become the fall guy to some extent. Everybody needs a fall guy. So unfortunately, she's the fall guy. There's a feeling here from the feds that they're very appreciative of how cooperative she's been and how much information she's given them. This situation pulled her into another life to some extent. I feel like in a way, it was good that she got out of that apartment because she lived in a very small world with a small group of people, some of whom are not happy with her right now. And by being forced out of this situation, she had to move into a new world with new people, new experiences. Sometimes we can become too isolated. We become too much in our own little worlds, and it can become toxic. She's transformed, the Death card. So, yeah, I think and death or stopgap. Yeah, I don't think she's ever going back to that apartment. And this is not necessarily bad. Oh, she's got a new apartment in the next 6 months. Also, she's being threatened. Are they suing her because she's being threatened? There's some new truth coming out. Possibly, you know what? She's very suited. I'll tell her where she's suited. She's suited to living outside New York City with this type of energy. She would be better living in Monroe or someplace like that. Someplace nice, quiet, with white-tailed deer, a different kind of an energy. I don't see her staying in Manhattan with these types of cars. She's actually better suited to a quieter life that's a little bit, this is not a good energy. This is not a good place for her to be. I do feel that the feds are very appreciative. She helped them a lot. You can see here, victorious due to the relationship. The reason that her relationship is over with family, etc., is because of this Nine of Wands. They really were threatened by what she did. And then total transformation, death comes, and then the Page of Swords, which is truth. I used to live in Monroe, New York. It's beautiful over there. I just want to do one more. Oh, there might be a countersuit. Something about taking her apartment wasn't entirely legal. There's some kind of question about it. They may not have been totally right to have done that. But see, I see her moving. See her going somewhere else. It's better suited to her. All right. Yes, she's been very, very helpful. She'll continue to be very, very helpful. And the feds are deeply appreciative of everything that she's done. That's the best way to describe the energy. All right. This comes from the great Douglas. Hello, Douglas. Good to have you here. What about any violence in August when Trump isn't reinstated? Well, they're domestic terrorists, so they'll all just get dragged off to Gitmo. I mean, the law is different now. People have to realize that the law is very, very different now. You can't go and act under this new AG. You can't behave like that. So let's see what's going to happen in August. No, I don't see fighting. I don't see anything like that. Nothing happens. It's kind of like a media conversation that goes nowhere. People are stubborn. Lady Justice is here. And then the final outcome, peace reigns. No, I don't see major event happening in August. I do. They went to jail. The people went to jail. They got charged. They flipped. They got public lawyers. This was like the folie à deux. This was like being hypnotized by a drug, and then people got embarrassed and snapped out of it. It was very humiliating for them. Okay, so Four of Swords, research, right? So I think they're on it. In terms of the person that supports, that really believes this thing is going to happen in August, heartbreak, nothing comes of it. In terms of truth and investigation, you have a nice King of Wands here, leadership, truth seeker. And then in terms of healing, jobs. There's a real feeling here that economic incentive, improving the lives of people in these areas, is ultimately going to be the greatest impact on getting people to move away from this kind of revolutionary thinking. Jobs, work, good work, good paying work. If Manchin can get off his high horse and help the Democrats in West Virginia create work for vulnerable people, it can go a long way. The same is true for other rural parts of the South. Education is important, of course. The education is pretty bad in some states, but also just good job opportunities. Yeah. Well, what we have said, because Tawny has friends that work for the feds. They work for Homeland. She was an engineer. She's not an engineer anymore. So she was doing like security engineering and whatnot. But she was talking to them, and they basically said, Homeland, that the big and the bad will disappear in about 2.5 years. They're just going to go missing. Yes, they're going to go on a little trip. They're going to take a little journey, a continental journey. The weather's very nice in Cuba this time of year. So, yeah, this is a good question coming from Joni Angels. She wants to know about the collapse of the Surfrider. It came down. Did I say the name right? The building in Florida that collapsed. So Surfrider, is that correct? We are concerned. It's interesting, when I went into I didn't know anything other than when I went into the remote. But when I went into the remote 3 weeks ago, I felt moisture to my right. And so I was pulled to the right, and then I wound up under the parking garage, the car park. And then when I was in the remote, and then when I was under, I felt the moisture, and then the moisture pulled me to the right. And then I felt the slab had collapsed because of moisture and decay. So I assumed that to the right was the ocean and yeah, come on in. Housekeeping again. Yes, we're okay. Thank you. All right, that was it. Or it was Surfside. Okay, let's go answer the door for the. Hello.
The housekeeping coming for you?
She did. Everything's great.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everything's great. Talk about great service. I didn't just get one check on the house cleaning. I got 2 checks on the house cleaning. See, I thought it's 2 p.m. here, so I thought, okay, by the time I go live, house cleaning will have come and gone. Not at the embassy suites. No, they're taking this seriously. Every half hour they and want to know if I need a towel. I'm fine. And this place is booked solid, by the way. It's not like they don't have a ton of guests here. I mean, it's Atlanta in July, and oh my God, the traffic is horrible. They had a game. It was game night, some game. I don't know. It's like it took us an hour to get, I don't know, a few miles. It was horrible. Mila's doing great. Mila has a babysitter, Linda. And Linda has been kind to take care of Mila, and that's really, really cool. Okay, let's look at the buildings in Florida. No, Cheryl, the convention got rained out. Future collapses or damage in Florida. It is the worst. This is a part of the world that's going to really appreciate flying cars when they get flying cars. Oof, lawsuits. I don't know if I see collapses so much as an increase in inspections that are finding problems. That's really more of what it looks like. You can see here a Two of Swords, not great. Two of Swords could indicate blocks or refusing to look at certain things. Thank you, Joan. Very sweet of you. So a Two of Swords coming in is hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. That's a problem because you really want people, when you're doing an investigation into something like this kind of building code violation, you want people to be looking at it. If Two of Swords could indicate a resistance to look at the situation. Also Seven of Wands to be defensive. So there's actual resistance about going in and taking a look at the codes. Three of Wands is a wish card, and it also has to do with future prospects. And then there's a Three of Pentacles, which is new contracts, real estate, etc. Basically, what I see happening is that there's a massive increase in requests for building inspectors. So building inspectors are busier now than they've ever been in their careers. And I see a lot of people taking it very, very seriously. Looks like there's also going to be some potential aid coming in. Yeah, there's a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting and a lot of people being defensive. So what's starting to happen is that there appears to be an increase in inspections. And that's led to a lot of people getting caught. Look at this, defensive and possible police action. So people are getting caught and they're being held accountable. Yeah, you can see fighting over construction. There are a lot of condos in Florida. A lot of condos in Miami, South Beach, etc. So the fact that this is coming up, the fact that there's this angry energy coming up, suggesting police or legal military action or some kind of, and the fact that it's aggressive with a Seven of Wands, people being defensive, passionate exchange of ideas over the real estate. I think that they're going to get a lot stricter, but people are very defensive. But no, I don't see another building collapse. I want to take a look now at, does anybody know if Ron DeSantis is running to be running again? He's the governor, right? So I want to know about his future and when is he going up? Is it 2022 that he's coming up for re-election, or is it later than that? I just want to look at his future. All right. You can only read one question at a time, but we're going to do DeSantis. We'll look at his future, and then I'll do something else. All right. What is going on with the future of DeSantis? Oh, Christine, come with me. I want to do an Alaskan cruise too. Celebrity Cruises is carbon neutral now. I'll go. They have a cruise. I'll go with you. So is Norwegian. And if you leave from Seattle, no one's allowed onto the boat that is not vaccinated, which means no kids, which is fine with me. All right. He's going to be betrayed. That's what they say. DeSantis put himself in a situation that will result in the karmic implications of his relationship with 45 and the Republicans will result in him being the fall guy. In plainer words, the people that he helped will throw him under the bus. You can see here 3 of Wands, so he stands in a positive place. He felt like he was doing great. This is the wish card. He got his wish. Then you have the three of Pentacles, which is the new contract coming in. But here's where things get really bad for DeSantis. He put himself in a situation he can't get out of. And then betrayal, 10 of Swords. Someone is going to throw him under the bus. In plain words, all of the things that are messed up about Florida, all of the messed up things that have happened with 45, who doesn't seem to be even spending that much time in Florida, but this guy is going to get thrown under the bus. Yeah, there's some kind of a police or some kind of an investigation happening. Something questionable about his relationship with others that allowed him to get elected. Something about look at this. He was dancing with somebody. It was who he had a relationship with. It was his relationships that got him into trouble. In terms of who will betray him, it results because justice prevails. Justice prevails, and it does not bode well for him. And it will happen within 1 year because you have him getting betrayed, and it's within 1 year. So he has 1 year left. So if he's running in 2022, he's not going to win. Yeah. So that's the story. So the name of the governor of Georgia, that's Brian Kemp. Is that correct? I'd be very curious to see what happens with him also. If he's, it would be great if we could see somebody like Stacey Abrams run for governor of Georgia, just because she's so popular here and she's done so much for the country. All right, so we'll look at Kemp and see about the future of Georgia in honor of the beautiful state of Georgia. Hey, it's a blue state now. We got to have a blue governor here. I'm convinced Tyler Perry is responsible for a lot of this. You feel like you come to Atlanta, I just feel like Tyler Perry energy everywhere. It's awesome. Oh, thank you, Miss Brazil. What is the story with? Oh, good, Ruth. All right, the future of Brian Kemp. He's saying to me energetically that he believes that the people of Georgia are reasonable people. He says that he believes that the people of Georgia are very, very reasonable, and because they're reasonable, they're going to vote for him. That's his view. So that's the world he lives in. He's surrounded by reasonable conservatives who understand that, of course, he's the right choice because they're reasonable. It would not be reasonable to vote for somebody else in his mind. His voting for him is the reasonable choice. He feels Kemp's energy like he wants to rebuild the new Georgia. There's a sun coming. There's a 6 of Cups getting out there, and it's a new day in Georgia. It's a new energy, and he wants to govern the new Georgia. And this is fast energy coming. So this is showing him adapting to the new Georgia. Like he can adapt to this because the Renaissance is here, right? We're witnessing the birth of the new economy. I think he's having a real rough time with it. You can see grief here. 7 of Cups, confusion in the clouds. He doesn't know what his constituents want. He's disconnected. He keeps talking to the same people, and then what happens is you wind up in a pool of your own community, and that ultimately is what causes him to be really, it just feels like he's isolating himself. He sticks with his own group. He's having trouble with the greater world, trying to connect with the greater world or the greater community. He could still win in Georgia if he begins to reach across the aisle. But if he doesn't reach across the aisle to other communities in the new Georgia and start to talk in terms of us rather than us versus them, he won't win. If he can change his rhetoric, then he can win. All right, so I've been going for about an hour and 38 minutes, so I think I'm gonna call it quits. I'm probably gonna go down and have something to eat. I haven't really eaten that much yet today, so I think I might go ahead and get some food. What do y'all think? Sound good? All right, love and light to everybody. If you're still trying to get in for a reading, I have openings this Tuesday. I have like 2 or 3 openings still. And then I won't have any openings until I get back from Iceland. So, yeah, so that's what's going on with me. I am going to get some ice cream. Thank you, Terry. And have a great rest of the day, everyone. Thank you so much for the support of the channel. And don't forget to check your subscription and subscribe if you are not getting the bell notifications. All right, thanks, everyone. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.